Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Friday Team Call. Glad to see all of your smiling faces on here. Welcome, 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 welcome. Let's hit some leaderboards. Let's get the show started here. We had, so this leaderboard is as of about 45 minutes ago. So I know there's a lot of appointments, still business to be written on on Friday. We have until midnight Eastern to get business turned in. So, but this is business as of this morning, about 45 minutes ago. So let's see what we got so far. Data Bates, one application, $735, direct to Spencer Cushion. Victoria Hayes, two applications, $953, direct to Stacy Love. Sydney Lee, one application, $1,514, direct to Stella Dinwiddie. Miss Stella Dinwiddie herself, six applications, $2,030, direct to myself. Anna Phillips, two applications, $2,592. Number one for the week, Mr. Spencer Cushion, three applications, $5,254. No stranger to the leaderboards. Great job, Spencer. Let's go ahead and hit our monthly numbers. And this was as of the month of May. We had a very solid month of May. Shout out to all of you all who contributed. And for the entire hierarchy, we had about, we had exactly 39 writers. So solid number of writers. But let's take a look at what we had for top 10 in the month of May. And again, we're just doing top 10. We're not going to run through all 39 writers, but we'll do top 10 for the entire hierarchy. Salvatore Manzo, $10,806, direct to Joanna Doyman. Eric Sullivan, $10,917, direct to John Paul Vetter. Stephanie Stubbs, seven applications, $11,148, direct to John Paul Vetter. Mr. Spencer Cushion had $11,533, direct to myself. Derek McPherson had $12,169, direct to John Paul Vetter. Donna Bates in the number 5 position for the month. Great job, Donna. Great month. $12,631, direct to Spencer. Stacy Love, number 4. Great job, Stacy. Top 5 for the entire hierarchy out of 40 writers. Had $13,115. Terry Myers had $14,152 for the number 3 spot. Stella Dinwiddie leading from the front, $22,760. And number 1, Miss Jenny Gray, $35,506 for the hierarchy lead. Now, I left out an important piece because I know it's what you were all sitting here waited with bated breath, wanting to know what the biggest award, and it was a tight race coming into the last week of the month, gang. So I specifically left out because there's a lot of jockeying going around here, and hopefully there was some trash talking going on with it. But we had the Golden Chicken Award. Let me pull up here so everybody can see. And for those of you who don't know, that this is the most prestigious award given to the person who writes the most applications in the month for the entirety of the month. So we had, I'm going to share the screen here. I had to get it pulled up. Drum roll, please. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the Golden Chicken Award winner, second month in a row, Miss Stella Dinwiddie. Congratulations. Terry Myers, Donna Bates were close on her heels. Stella, that target has gotten even bigger. I know you're rejoicing right now, but realize that you've now set yourself up for an even bigger attempt to take you down. So you guys, you've got your target. So Stella will get her Golden Chicken Award in the mail this week. And congratulations, two-time winner. This is the first two-time winner in the history of the Golden Chicken Award, ladies and gentlemen. That is unprecedented. So congratulations, Stella. Having fun with that. That's good. All right, gang. Announcements, team leaders, key leaders, AOs, any announcements or shout outs that you would like to give to your team? Go ahead and unmute for anybody that wants to pop in. It's Terry, go ahead, Terry.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention, shout out to Ayana. She, her first commission bump to 75% went through this past week. So, and she got a nice little bonus to go along with it. So congrats, Ayana.
Awesome. Love it.
Thank you.
Chris, want to give a big shout out to Lauren Green, new agent coming in. She's just started hers, going to be starting her studies soon. So she's on the call today. Just joined the team. So welcome, Lauren.
Awesome. Love new smiling faces.
We also have Miss Taylor C. Lee. She would be showing her beautiful smiling face, but she's been a little under the weather. So she'll bless you with her face next week, I'm sure. But she is a licensed agent in the state of Colorado and will be buying leads and starting to make dials next week.
Wow. Awesome. Congratulations. Welcome, welcome. Any other announcements, shout outs, etc.? All right, gang. Well, let's get started with the content of the call. And guys, on the face, especially for those of you who've been around for a little while, you might think this, hey, this looks like a little bit of Symmetry 101. But what we're going to cover today is going to have a direct implication for each and every one of you, where you're at in the business, where you're wanting to go. And, we're going to talk about this morning some very important things to be keeping your eye on. And one of the things that I love about this system is the fact that it is a system. It is something that is, I was thinking about Stella and I were having a conversation about the call today. And, after we got off the call, it hit me, how many have worked for somebody else or worked at another company, and they had either a yearly review or a semi-annual or even a quarterly review if they were super generous, and they brought you in and set you down and went over your numbers, your performance, whatever, and very proudly told you that you qualified for a 1% raise or a 2% raise, or maybe they were just really super generous and bumped it up to 3%. Guys, you can get a 5% raise here every couple of months, actually every month in some cases. And that's just on business that you write, but you can actually grow beyond that, not just in percentage, but you can actually create something that's going to build a business for you. And so we wanted to break down some things today. And this kind of conversation sparked from the call we had a couple of weeks ago with Scott Mank regarding the PPL, profit per lead. And we wanted to take that a step further, because I think the feedback we got is a lot of people loved to understand, because there's a lot of behind the scenes metrics. There's a lot of things that we have to keep track of. And look, I'm poster child for just putting my head down and running hard and not really paying attention to the numbers. Just put the numbers up and the numbers will happen. And for the most case, that's true. However, we still need to be strategic about it. We still need to understand what that next step is, and make sure that we're going to take that next step, that we're going to get to that next level. What does it take? Because a lot of times, and it'll happen to all of us, and it doesn't matter if you're day one in this business, you've been around for a while, we all get to a place where we get stuck, and you may get stuck at a commission level for a period of time. And how do we break out of that? So Stella, go ahead and unmute yourself, because this is going to be a back and forth with Stella and myself, and kind of talking about, again, building off this PPL conversation, but specifically, again, what the radio station that we all love to tune into, WIFM, what's in it for me? What's in it for me? What's in it for my business? And Stella, you're go ahead and you've unmuted. Your thoughts that you were sharing with me yesterday, kind of high level. What sparked this thought process for you?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. First of all, thank you. I'm so grateful, so blessed to be here like every single day, you guys. And, you know, to answer your question first, and then I would like to make my own announcement, but I wanted to wait for everybody else to make their announcements. But on a high level, what made me, want to talk about this is number one, any of you who've been working with me for a while, you know, the first thing that I always think of when I come into these meetings, and I'm always feeling so honored and so blessed, because, you know, I'm thinking, gosh, you know, why me? But I always want to give back, and I always want to make a positive impact of what did I learn in my journey that I could share to help somebody else achieve their goal. Because that's what we do. We impact people, whether it's the families that we help, we impact them in that time of need, or whether it's when we impact somebody else's life, like how my life has been impacted. But that doesn't happen unless you understand the process, like Chris was talking about. And when we talked about PPL and we talked about promotions, there's been a couple of factors that have played a role, and it's really understanding, okay, how do I get to that next level to make my promotion? Because it's very, very doable, but it's not always easy to wrap your head around it. Like I was telling Chris, when I first started, I just, like him, I put my head down and I was just trying to pay my bills. I came in here with barely any money to invest in leads, like literally $50 a week and 50-cent leads. He'll tell you. But so I wasn't focused on the bigger promotion. I was only focused on just trying to pay my bills. And so I didn't really pay attention back then, 3 years ago, on how I can make my next promotion. It was just this desperate goal to pay my bills. And I would get on the phone with Chris, and he's so awesome. He would point out to me how, well, Stella, you actually, did this. You were, you wrote more than, these people in our hierarchy. You wrote this, you did that. As I was my milestones, I wasn't number one. It's just milestones. And then he said, you made your promotion. And I was like, what? Wasn't even thinking about it. And then, and then he said it again. It was like, couple of months later, because back then we didn't have the opportunity to make your promotion in 1 month. It was 2 months. That's the typical norm. And we're going to go back to that. So when we were talking about this, I wanted to really pour into so many of you brand new people and help give you that jump start that will put you ahead of from when I started. If you pay attention to what those key factors are now to get you to the next level. Some of you have already done it. And we're going to open it up at the end. But to answer your question, Chris, it was really all about how can I help somebody else brand new here get there quicker than what it took me, because I wasn't paying attention to those promotions. And I actually got into a habit after getting off the phone with Chris. I would print off my promotion guidelines. It's this guy, and you can find all of that. And we're going to go through this more on a professional level where we'll share our screen. But I just wanted to really, really, really stress that if you follow the process, that's our word of the year. I love how Jim says that all the time. Process, the word of the year, because it's a process. It's not easy, but it's simple. And if you just follow it, you will meet your goals. But there's a number of factors that go into place that can surprise us. And so we're going to cover those so that nobody misses it. So that's to answer your question. And then as far as the announcements, I'm so excited. I have Victoria Cater here, who on her screen you'll see is Victoria Elise. If you could just wave your hand so they all see you, Victoria. Thank you so much. She's this adorable gal from Louisiana. And you guys, I'm going to ask her to have a couple of minutes at the very end. But this gal, we talked on May 24th. Today's June 3rd. We talked on May 24th. She, you know, saw the vision. She went to Texas 2 days later to go to the spring tour with Marlon Faulkner, Danny Young, Scott Mank, everybody, Jacob Hogue, Sarah Reinecke, Jamie Susie, like all these people who impact, you know, in the most amazing way were there. She got to be there. She went there. She drove 6 hours from her house. And then the next day she came, she was like, what's next, Stella? You know, got her exam FX, literally studied through all of the chapters, and she has 4 kids. And I'm just so excited. So when you talk about announcements, like sometimes you don't see, like, just because you're not on a leaderboard today, you guys, we recognize what's going on behind the scenes. There's so many of you here that do so much behind the scenes. It doesn't matter if you're not on the leaderboards. We recognize the effort, the activity, the attitude, your heart that gets poured into it. Because I'll tell you, for the longest time, I didn't win anything. I just put my head down and just stayed with the process. And, you know, natural progression helps. And anyways, and the other person is Manfred Agent, who he's got his, we don't see his awesome smile, but I got to yesterday. He's newly licensed from New York, and super duper excited for him. I know we have Heather Porter here from West Virginia, and I'm super duper excited. She's just getting started, has a big, huge heart. And just so many of you are just so amazing, you know, for showing up and being here. But that's my announcement. I know I'm missing out on mentioning some other people. Oh, lastly, thank you for my award. It was a tie, neck to neck. And honestly, you guys, Terry and Donna, or those of you that were on that list, would have definitely have won it. But for the fact, on the last day of the month, I was just trying to write business. I wasn't thinking about anything, and actually pulled in 6 applications in one day at the last minute. That's the only reason I got it.
It sounds like trash talk to me. It sounds like trash talk. So you ladies are on notice. She just said, oh, just one day, last day, I just went out and, you know, I poured in 6 apps. So, I mean, if you can do that, maybe you can have the award.
What you don't know is I didn't write any applications the whole week through because I was so busy recruiting, and I was going to all my daughter's band, jazz band. I was going to, you know, like all these things. I didn't get my dial time in. And so I was stressing. I'm like, oh my gosh, I know what I need to do. So as Danny Young says, I got on it and I stayed on it all day long. And then, you know, I was blessed. So, but that's all. Like, it's not me, it's the system.
Isn't it great that we work in a business where you can go out in a day to help six people with coverage, take care of your family life. You mentioned, I love the fact you mentioned daughter's band events that you went to, and was able to take time for family, and, you know, live your life, but still go out and go out, air quotes, since we go out over the interwebs to help our people. And that's the beautiful thing about this business, is you have the opportunity to help a lot of people make great money, and do so, you know, with the flexibility of working from home and that time flexibility. So great job, Stella. And you know what now needs to be done for the month of June? If you want to put a golden chicken on your shelf, you've got to go out and pour in some apps and qualify for that award. Quick, and I'm glad, Stella, thank you for reminding me about the spring tour events, because we have 2 more of those. So Las Vegas, June 15th, and Indianapolis, June 22nd. Make sure, guys. So one of the, you know, we're talking all about the system this morning. That's one of the keys to our system, is having these regional events that allow people, I mean, you know, to plug in, because, you know, the benefit of working from home and working behind the screen, it's great. We get a lot done in a short period of time, but it's also, we got to get out of our box sometimes. And it's very important to get around, you know, the people that are having a high level success. And that's what these meetings are about, is that opportunity for you to connect one-on-one with individuals who maybe you've heard on a national call. you've seen on, seen them training or maybe listen to one of their audios. And, it's an opportunity to go be there in person, get a deeper dive, kind of see behind the curtain, if you will, of what our system is and how it works. But also, again, connect with people, other people on your team, other teams, other hierarchies within the system. And again, just growing in the business. So keep that in mind. Mark on your calendars. Vegas, June 15th, and Indy, June 22nd. So be there if that is in your area, and make that happen. So all right, let's jump into the content. Stella, where would you like to start? What are you most passionate about? I think you kind of alluded to that just a little bit earlier.
Well, and I'm not done with what I'm passionate about, Chris, and I am going to go directly to the screens. But here's the thing that I was, was heavy on my heart. And, I always say when I come into these meetings, the biggest thing that I want to do is I've learned so much from these meetings and calls and training workshops, conferences, whatever you want to call them, where we all surround ourselves around the fire. And the biggest thing that I learned is that you can have all of this in place, but none of it's going to matter if you don't have the right belief and the right attitude. So I won't be on it long, Chris, but I got to tell you, this was heavy on my heart because every single morning I am just in flooding my brain with self-development. And I do it every night also. All of us do it in different forms, through prayer, through meditation, through a gratitude list, through, a discipline list, whatever that is for you. All of that is for me. That's all on my list, and exercise. But there was one thing that came across that I heard, and I was like, oh my gosh, I really want to share this, because we can talk about the numbers. It can be very black and white. It is a process. But if you're not passionate and motivated about what you're doing, it's not going to matter. It's not going to motivate you. And you're going to find yourself at times not motivated. Like, you came in here with a big reason. I interviewed so many of you. And, the couple of things that you said was, I want growth. I want to be recognized. I want to make an impact. I want a bigger income. I know in order to have a bigger income, I need to become a bigger person. Well, all of this is the intro into, making your promotion. And so one thing I heard from Oprah Winfrey this morning, she said, concentrate on what you have, because if you concentrate on what you have, you will always have more. And because and write it down, make a gratitude list, because there's power in those words, in your words of gratitude, because everybody has problems. She said, if you concentrate on what you have, you'll always have more, even if it's $2 in your bank account. Because if you focus on what you don't have, you're never going to have enough. And even if you start making $10,000, $15,000 a month here, if you focus on what you don't have, but you're still, chasing after a bigger goal, that's good. Have goals, but enjoy the journey. You have to enjoy the journey, no matter what you do. So that was a big deal, making a gratitude list, 5 things to be grateful for. And the other thing is, with attitude, it really comes down to your philosophy, because that's what changed my life coming in here. I came here for the income. I was broker than broke. I came here to have a bigger income, but I also knew in my heart I wanted to serve people. So they had to come hand in hand. I had to know that when I made a lot of money, I was going to do something that I felt good about when I laid my head down on a pillow at night, because I didn't like what I was doing before in property management, giving rental increases. That just didn't sit well with me anymore. I was making a good income, but coming here, so I wanted to serve people. So, but I didn't have a really I didn't understand that I didn't have the best philosophy and I didn't have the best discipline. And these are all going to play a part in making your promotions. So, you know, another thing that I heard this morning, another one of my favorites, Jim Rohn, he talked about it's not what happens to you in this life that determines your future. It's not what happens to you. It's what you do about what's happened to you or what is happening to you. It's how you respond. It's what you do with that. And it relates to this because when you have a bad day, a bad week, a bad month, you know, how are you going to turn that around for yourself? He says, imagine all of us, we're all like in a little sailboat. We're all little sailboats going along the water. And it's, you know, it's not the blowing of the wind around us that's going to set our sail, meaning, you know, all the problems that we have, because the same winds blow on every one of us that's here on this call, the same one of us, the same wind that blows on Stacy, the same wind that blows on Terry, on Sydney, on, you know, Manfred, Ayana, you know, Spencer, every one of you, the same winds of disaster, the winds of opportunity, the winds of disappointment, the winds of favor, of grace, the winds of achievement, they all blow on us. But at the end of the day, it's how we set our sail that is going to determine where we end up on this journey. And it's our sail to better thinking. And so I just really, really, really wanted to point that out because, again, you can have all of these laid out, but if you don't have the right mindset or the right philosophy, you're going to struggle. You just will. Some of you know what I'm talking about, and some of you don't yet, but you're going to come back to this and go, now I know what they're talking about, because that happened to me. Because everywhere consistently in this company, you are going to hear people tell you what we do here is 90% mindset and 10% skill set. Let that sink in. So we'll go ahead and dig right into this, but just one last piece. And this changed my life. And I hope that I can make an impact with somebody out there who is taking notes and listening. For things to change, if you don't like what you see around in your life, your bank account, your relationships, your situation, your circumstances, for things to change, you have to change. The first time I heard that and I heard about what he talked about on that, I wrote it and I put it on my bathroom mirror, and it sat there for like a year and a half. It was my silent sermon to myself of like, how can I change things for me? He says, don't wish it was easier. Wish you were better. Don't wish for less problems. Wish or pray for more skills. Don't wish for less challenges. Wish or pray for more wisdom, because you need the wisdom to overcome those challenges. So I just really wanted to spend those few minutes on that before we dig into this, because if you don't really internally embrace your own belief in this system and in yourself, it's yourself, it's not the system. We know the system works. It's in yourself. If you can't look in the mirror and say, I can do this, you're not going to do it. So I encourage you, every one of you, to look in the mirror and say, I can do this, even when you feel like you can't. So, all right, we're going to go ahead and get started on here. So Chris and I, when we talked about how to make your promotion, because that's what you came here for. So we're going to give that to you. But we want to make sure, I want to make sure you understand that if you want to make your promotion, you've got to have it in here first, okay? And it doesn't take all kind of rocket science. It just takes heart and belief and faith. So the first one is SNA, and I'm going to share my screen with you. Where is my screen? All right, so going through the levels of leadership, we're not going to go through every single one of them. I just want to walk you through where, because so many brand new people here. The first one, you're an NA, and that's a new agent. You helped one family. The next one is SNA. That's a seasoned new agent. What this means, this is super important, you guys, because this is going to help give you the biggest jump start here. If you didn't make it and you've been here for a while, that's okay, because you have plenty of opportunity. It means getting 6 applications in your first 6 weeks. Don't wait until week 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to get those in. Do it in your first week. Get at least 3 knocked out. Here's why. Because if you, and there's a number of rules that must be met to get this acknowledgement. Okay, it's easy, but if we're not focused on it, it can be easy to miss 1 or 2 things. The first one, you want to get 3 applications in your first week, even if that means writing an accidental application on your mom, your brother, your spouse, and maybe helping a neighbor. It doesn't matter. It doesn't need to be any kind of big apps. Get 3 in. The reason is because then you're going to automatically be enrolled to get contracted with SBLI. SBLI, you guys, is going to help you write more applications quickly. Many of you here have been writing them left and right. You know how fast and easy it is. It's a simple text you can send to your client, and they have really great rates. So it gives you much more opportunity to help make those next 3 applications. And then you can breathe a little bit easier because now you've knocked half of that down. And then that also starts, the clock starts. Also, you don't want to wait too long because the clock starts. Chris and I talked about this from the first time that you get an agent code. Now, I had to fill out these forms, seasoned new agent, because we have people that have accomplished this. And here is what we had to fill out. This is for the Slingshot promotion request. Let me make this a little bigger for you. So we put the person who we're nominating, and then their code, commission level from 70 to 75. And here's one of the big kickers. They must have a PPL or paid premium per lead. They want $150 or higher paid premium per lead is required for each qualified month. Agent must have written 3 out of the 4 weeks. So that means you can't just write, I wrote, a bunch of applications week 1 and 2, but I didn't write any week 3 and 4. Even if it's only 1, you got to write something for 3 out of those 4 weeks, or 4 out of 5 if it's a 5-week month. And you can include your downline production to qualify. But this PPL, Chris is the pro at this. And I asked, and we talked about, how he was going to talk about this, because I had the hardest time wrapping my head around this. And I know I've talked to many of you here who are very intelligent, and it's not always easy to wrap your head around this. I get it now after about 20,000 times drilled in my head. So I'm going to turn it over to you to talk about that PPL, Chris.
Yeah, and so a quick point there. So you're talking about SNA, which is seasoned new agent. And then what we're rolling into is this Slingshot. So Slingshot is something that allows you to, it's a special promotion the company's done right now. It allows you to shortcut that. I was talking about get a 5% raise every 2 months. They allow you to cut that down to 1 month. And that's for the promotions of 70 to 75 to 80 and to 85. So you can literally shave 3 months off of your track to get where you want to go. And Stella, I don't want to step on your toes here, but this allows you to also, big picture, for those who come in who are business minded, who are wanting to, build a business. I mean, that literally takes it down to, I think, as little as 8 months in theory that you could qualify for agency owner if you really day one jumped on it and pushed hard. But so I didn't want to get off track there, but I think it's important to understand that transition. We're talking about SNA, which is an important designation. That's a key metric that we've discovered, that the people who get to SNA and do that 6 apps within 6 weeks or more, that's not, we're not telling you to do only 6 apps, obviously do as many as you possibly can. But if you do at least 6 in 6 weeks, your odds of being successful here and being here long-term go up dramatically. Yes. By a large factor. But one of the things that Stella keyed on, and this is important to pay attention, this is why, and everybody pay attention to this. Again, what we're talking about may be more applicable to somebody just getting started off as far as slingshot, but this PPL conversation, this is something that applies to all of us, and it's something that is becoming much more focused as far as qualifying for promotions. This is something that will knock you out of promotion if you're not watching this number. And it is something that we're dialing in and making sure that all our metrics are lined up. PPL, just quite simply, and you see there, paid premium per lead. Another way to say that is profit per lead. It's a metric that we use to determine, to make sure that you're being profitable in your business, that it's working for you and the company. Because you got to realize that the leads that we generate, yes, we pay for them, but we don't pay anywhere near what it costs to generate that lead. It costs Symmetry anywhere from $75 to $100 a lead to generate those leads. And I'm talking about specifically an A lead. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I love everything that you said. I'm going to pretend like I'm a brand new agent. Chris, does that mean that every single lead, like no matter what kind of lead it is, it applies to?
You're talking about PPL?
When you say per lead, does that mean any lead I invest in off opt applies, like bonus or A leads? Is that any lead?
So yes, but there's a caveat there, and let me break that down, because all of so the PPL, and let's go through the equation real quick, is basically your issued business, how much business that you got issued. So for quick math, let's say you wrote $10,000, but if you're brand new, just because you write 10,000 doesn't mean all 10,000 is going to get issued, because sometimes we run into issues. You know, we have a client that just has got every exotic disease known to man, and we're having trouble getting them qualified. Yeah, Donna gives a thumbs up because she gets every one of those exotic diseases and calls me, and I don't know how she finds these people, but she follows up on her leads. I'll just give her that. But point being is, if I write $10,000, I might get 9,000 of it issued, meaning I may lose 1,000 of it just to not being able to get it through underwriting, and the client doesn't, want to take the product that I can get them qualified that may be more expensive or has less benefits or whatever. So anyway, the point is, we take that amount that we actually issued out of what we wrote, and divide that by the number of A leads that we took. Now, the reason why I say that is because, and new people especially have a huge advantage here, because a lot of times you're starting off with what we call our bonus leads, the leads that were at one point an A lead, but they've been in the system for a little while, and maybe they've been sitting there for a few weeks. And so they're another way to say it, maybe they're an age lead. Now, just because they're an age lead doesn't mean they're less of a lead or not a good lead, because I can tell you, when we know these metrics, we followed them for a long time, 60% of the business that we've written historically in our agency has come from bonus leads. But the reason I bring that up is because our metric, the PPL, the paid premium per lead, is only tallied off of the A leads. That's an important, and again, those of you who've been around for a while, this is important to remember. So we take whatever your issued business, $9,000, divided by the number of leads that you took, and let's just say you took nine A leads. So if you divide that out, that comes up with your profit per lead. In that case, that example would be $1,000 PPL. And so, but here's a key factor, and this is how you maintain profitability. Because again, this is not just paid premium per lead, but this is what I would call profit premium per lead, your profit margin. So obviously we know if you spend a lot of money to make money, then your profit margins are lower. Somebody says, well, I made $1 million. Oh, that sounds great. But it cost me $950,000 in overhead to make that. Ooh, that's not so good, right? So that's kind of an extreme example. So we use that same logic in our conversation here. So if I go out and write business, I write $10,000, I want to be able to do that as cost effectively as I can. So that may be buying some A leads, which we love, and nothing wrong with them, but it probably is going to include and should include bonus leads, because bonus leads can only help us, they can't hurt us. In other words, it doesn't go against that metric. We never include it in the PPL. We only include the positive outcomes, which means any applications written and any premium that you write off of those will help that number. So hopefully that's not too confusing. And I know just kind of talking through numbers, I kind of that's kind of hard to track. But the main thing to remember is write more applications per household. So we're giving this advice to everybody. So when you sit down, you quote them a mortgage protection. Guys, write this down. This is a rule. Always sell an accidental death benefit with that. That automatically gets you 2 applications out of that. And it's a great value for the client. And it's not a lot of extra money for them to put in. Typically, you're talking about anywhere from, about $7, $8, maybe up to $20 a month extra to add on an accidental death benefit, but it provides so much value. Same thing, if they got kids in the home, guys, take the time to give them a quote on kids policies. If 4 kids, and let's say they're all under 15, we can write up to 18, I believe, on most of our carriers with kids policies. But let's just say 15 and under, kind of average household. We're going to be talking about, policies that are again about $5 to $10 a month per kid. And it's huge value. It's their whole life policies, not the term that we're writing on the parents, their whole life policies, okay, that these kids can take for the rest of their life and actually add on to. And again, if you write in the home, you write 3 or 4 applications, that adds to your app count, which adds to your profitability, adds to all those metrics that we're talking about here, PPL and your issue paid percentage. So, and I saw a question pop up. Yes, CI leads are counted as an A lead. Okay, and they are CI, for those who are new, CI is a call-in lead. So somebody that instead of filling out the form and mailing it in or going online and filling out the form, they actually called in, just filled out a survey over the phone. Those do count towards our metric. The internet leads, I believe, are also factored as an A lead, but I'm not positive on that. I actually need to do some footwork on that. I'll try to find that answer out and get back with it. I'm pretty sure we've checked into that, and I think it is a metric that they are tracking, especially the new internet leads, because the the adjustments they made recently, the quality on those has really shot up, and we'll be seeing some great results out of that. So, Stella, does that kind of help clear up the PPL?
Yes, no, absolutely. And here's the thing, you guys, any of you that don't, still haven't grasped your mind around it, because it was a lot of verbiage in that. Because he's, Chris does an awesome job of, just laying out what that means. But if you're new, it can be a little hard to understand. So just reach out to us, and we'll sit down one-on-one with a whiteboard and spell it out. 1 + 1 = 2 to make it a lot easier. So it's a lot
easier to do too with your actual numbers. So if you're ever curious what your PPL is, Stella and I get reports on that every month. we can sit down and show you exactly what your business is doing.
Exactly. So awesome. Thank you so much for explaining that, Chris. So moving on, we have the PPL must be met for that month, and then you have net place, which that's just your issue paid, and then if the person has any writers. And I love that you talked about how you can start creating these good habits now, so that those of you that want to build a legacy here, and I know there's a lot of you here that are on that mission, that's getting into those good habits now is going to help get you your promotions all the way to 120%. So no, that's really great stuff, Chris. And then they have a 90-day net placed average. That just means issue paid average for the last 90 days. Simple as that. And it says it on here again. You can use the most recent 3 months. Maybe someone's only been here 1.5 months. That was the case for Ayana. And, in making it, so you just give, the numbers for those last, 6 weeks, whatever it is. And then they ask, does the agent currently have any debt to SFG? That would be any chargebacks or anything else. Usually it's no. Consecutive writing week. Remember we said week 1, 2, and 3 must be met out of 4 weeks or 4 out of 5. And then this, was completed by blah, blah, blah. That's it. That's all there is to it. So it's not like a whole lot of big stuff, but you will notice there was a lot of time spent on PPL, and there's a reason for that, because this can be one thing that if you, here's a really good practice to do when you first start. And if you're like, oh my gosh, I don't want to worry about this, you know what? Invest in more bonus leads and do more activity, and you're going to help more people, and it's going to naturally happen. Because I always met this, and people like Sydney, she's like, I remember she had one of the highest last year. It was like crazy. I want to say like, was it 800? Oh my gosh. I don't know. It was really, really high. One of the highest PPLs in our main hierarchy, because she writes a ton of referrals. She goes back to, her older clients. She does all of that. So, hers was, hers, I just found it. Sydney had an 83.2% in 2021. Her PPL was 1,154. They're just asking for you to have $150 PPL or higher. Where it gets difficult for people is if they just buy a ton of A leads and, get spoiled and don't buy B leads, and they're not doing enough activity, or maybe they're learning, so you really want to mix that up with more B leads, and that's going to help you. So that's how you get to SNA. Slingshot. It's actually a very easy process. And real quick, I just like to, before we move on to the next one, I just want to open it up. Ayana, because you just made it. What word, 2-minute word of advice would you give to anybody brand new here, who's looking to make Slingshot? What are some of the things that you felt like helped you achieve that in your very short time here?
Okay. First of all, good morning to everyone. And I'm going to be real honest. I didn't even know that I was on that trajectory to make Slingshot. I was just kind of doing what I needed to do. I would say the first thing that's most important is to listen to your mentors, check in with your mentors, and just have that open communication. Make sure that you're being really consistent on a weekly basis, and make sure that you're buying your leads and have a good mix of leads as well. I was just purchasing a lot of B leads when I first started, and I was buying a lot of B2 leads, a lot of B1 leads. I didn't even really touch any of the A leads because when I started off, I didn't have a whole lot. So I was just mostly working with a lot of B2 leads. So, for me, it was just listening to my mentors, asking a lot of questions, just being consistent, making sure that I was having at least minimum for the week, at least 250 dials when I was making my calls. So if I could hit anywhere between 200 to 250 dials every week, then that's how I was getting business on the books and making sure that I was touching those leads and, you know, doing the calls like 3 times every time that I call. So consistency is key. Again, making sure that you're following up with your mentor, ask questions, and just kind of keep your nose to the grind and just keep calling. That's how you become successful. And then in no time, you'll, you know, hit Slingshot and you'll hit those promotions. Because like I said, when Terry told me like you hit Slingshot and Stella told me, I was like floored. I didn't even know that I had made it. So that's my advice.
That's perfect advice. Thank you so much for just talking on the spot. I really appreciate that. What she's not telling you also is that Ayana wrote a lot of referrals too that weren't even an actual lead. So that helped her. And then she also does a lot of self-promotion through her Facebook, her social media, which generates, you know, people asking about helping her. So just, you know, a couple of tiny things, but everything, yeah, is perfect, perfect. All right, well, let's move on because I know we don't have a lot of time. The next one, level up here, is going to be for, oops, let me go back here. Let's move on to the Slingshot. Oh, what we didn't cover on Slingshot is the amount. So at a glance, when you see it, this is what it looks like. Let me just tell you, before Slingshot, those of us like me, I started here at 60%. So did Terry. So did Spencer, Donna, a lot of us. And this started, ours were 60% here. Now you can start at 70%. And before Slingshot, not looking at the right side, only the left side, it takes you 2 months of getting a net issue paid of $2,500. That's it, to bump you up to 75%. And then to get up to 80%, your goal is to have a net place of 5,000 for 2 months in a row. These are all 2 months in a row. Now on Slingshot, which you want to take advantage of right now because you have 2 months left. Today is June 3rd. So you have all of June and all of July, because August is Denver. That's in this, the whole promotion has been Slingshot to Denver. There's a lot of people that have made it all the way up to, from 70% to 85%. If you haven't, that's okay. That's okay. You still got time to make it from 70 to 75%. You get issue paid 5,000 in 1 month. You don't have to do it in 2 months, 1 month. And when you do that 5,000, I'll never forget, Ayana was all excited. She got her bonus and she was like, what? So she got, you know, it was like almost a $500, it was a $500 bonus on top of, like, feels like free money. Because, you know, like she said, she was surprised she didn't even know she made Slingshot. So you got that, and then you got an additional 500. When you do it the next month for 7,500, then you get, you know, 750, you know, and so forth. It's 10% of what your issue paid is on these months. And so that's what's really awesome. So it's this month right now that you have the opportunity to get to 75 and to 80, or if you're already at 75 to 80, 85, wherever you are at in this journey, get to your next level before we get to
Stella, on that bonus, because I want to highlight, because we had somebody in one of the other agencies that had almost $1,400 to $1,500 bonus. So point being is, you know, if you hit the $5,000 issue pay, but you actually issue paid 7,000 or 10,000, you get the bonus on whatever the issue paid amount is. So that's huge.
That's an excellent point. Exactly. Shoot, thank you for bringing that up, Chris, because when we were talking, I told him my goal was always, when I was trying to shoot for the next level, I would double it to allow room for error, you know, because I was new. So, you know, maybe, you know, I messed up and someone didn't get, you know, issued or, you know, I got denied or they backed out or whatever it was. So I doubled my goal. And if you do, you know, make more, then you're going to get bonus more. Exactly. And then, so that's Slingshot. And if you have any questions about that, just reach out to your mentor. The next one is levels of leadership. Remember, we're only going to go through a couple because we don't have time, and a lot of you are brand new. The next one is top producer. All you need to do is write a minimum of 20,000 net placed for 2 months in a row. And we have elite producer. That just means you have issue paid of 30,000 for 2 months in a row. And then team leader. This one is really cool because as you start building, Terry, congratulations, made team leader. You get have a minimum of 10,000 issue paid for 2 months in a row, but you also have 3 people on your team for each of those qualifying months. And then you can go on up to key leader. I know, forgive me, because I know Stacy's on direct under you, Chris. I know Stacy's on one of these also, right? Yes.
Yeah, Stacy's team leader, pushing for key leader.
Exactly. So we got both Terry and Stacy pushing for key leader, which is totally excited. And I know many others of you here. And then agency owner. A lot of people are like, gosh, I want to have my own agency. You guys, if I can do it, anybody can do it. It's a simple, it's not easy, but it's a simple process. And, it's having more people on your team. A lot of people on my team, I have have to come on from people that I helped, families that I helped, and through both warm and cold recruiting. And if you don't know what that means, just ask us later. And once you have 6 people on your team and you write a minimum of 30,000 issue paid for 3 months in a row, then you get promoted to agency owner. And we did this, gosh, about my first year and a half, at the end of 2021. We're in 2020. Sorry, 2020. And it was so much fun. So, have fun with it. We had contests, everybody checked in with each other where we were at, because we had a goal to write 30,000 minimum issue paid. So our goal was to write.
Stella, sorry, let me cut in here real quick, because one of the things on promotions for leadership is kind of the same things you were talking about, over-indexing, shooting for the next level above. So, if you're a team leader shooting for key leader, you need to have 3 directs plus the 20,000 net placed. I would be shooting for 4 to 5 writers and in targeting, 25 to 30,000 net place. And the reason is you always, again, maybe not going for the full level up, to the next one, because a key leader to agency owner, it's a fairly good jump, but you want to be over indexing over on what you're trying to accomplish, because it's the old idea. If you make your target high and you miss, you'll still get, what you're actually shooting for. So, and it's very important too, because you got to realize, with leadership, with team building, and we see it in our agency all the time. There's an ebb and flow, and we bring people in. We want everybody to be successful here. We want everybody to win. Some people come in and find out it's not for them. Unfortunately, we hate that. We hate to lose good people, but it is what it is. And it's, this is a business that takes a certain type of mindset. And I love that you started to call out with that, because really it's what it boils down to, is having the right mindset and being willing to work on yourself and build and grow that mindset. So point being is, if I have 5 people that I've brought in, it's not uncommon for 1 or 2 of those people to get in 30 to 45, maybe 60 days in, decide this is not for them, and they're out. Well, if I'm shooting for a promotion and I'm trying to hit just that mark on the number of team members that I want, that's going to be hard. That's going to be hard because there's too many variables there. There's too much moving around. That's why it's very key to adopt that mindset early on, that I want to be going to the next level up. I want to be making sure that everything I'm doing, personal production, but also on team volume and number of team members, that I'm trying to I'm trying to push for the next level.
Exactly. Perfectly said. So I know we're at the top of the hour, but I just want to rein in at the end a couple of last things. Number one is you've got the pathway to make your promotions. The other key factors is make sure that you're at our 2-day workshop of training. And that's what it is. It's going to put you 2 years ahead of those people who don't go. People who go seem to reach their goal. And a great example, I had asked Victoria when she went just to that spring tour. I called her right afterwards and said, what did you get out of it? Because it had been a long time since I've gone to a spring tour. I've gone to, other training conferences. And Victoria, if you don't mind, just because you're brand new, you knew nothing about here except for a conversation that we had and a couple of videos that you watched, would you mind sharing your heart with the inspiration and, what you told me that day that you heard from Danny Young, Marlon Faulkner, and all of them?
Sure. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Awesome.
Oh, you froze. Oh, I can't hear you now. I remember that used to happen to me. Dang it. That's okay. We couldn't hear you. So sorry. You want to try again? I think your internet probably got unstable.
I don't know why you can't hear me. Can you hear me now?
Yes. It's just internet.
Okay. Oh, it says my internet is unstable.
Yeah, it happens.
Okay. Better. That better?
Yes.
Oh.
Oh, we had you and then we didn't. And
now?
Yes. Okay, go for it.
Okay. Sorry, guys. So yeah, I drove last minute. Basically, I got there at 3:11 and had to get dressed and prepared in my car, in my van. Went in and wasn't really sure what to expect. I had already kind of fallen in love with the idea of the company, even though I knew nothing about it, just from speaking with Stella, and I saw her heart and her passions about it. And I just wanted that for me. So I really, really, really enjoyed, hearing testimonies from people, one being Marlon Faulkner. He really made a big impact, his past, things he went through, going from homeless to just being proud of himself was one thing he said, having something of his own and being able to help people, and wanting to help people is my number one motivation for this job. Of course, I need the income, but that's last for me. I really like and am enjoying learning about how we can help people. I didn't really know much about insurance, so it's been a really cool experience for me. I also really enjoyed Danny, the last guy who came from Exxon. That was really cool for me to see someone that was in, that line of business, because I was in the oil field before, and how his experience and how he went from, a corporate industry like that to doing something that he started from scratch, on his own, and that it is your business and you're led by it, or led by a bunch of mentors who help you. I just kind of fell in love with the company and the initial start to their, to the family oriented help. I just love that the family is so important for this company. And that meant a lot to me. So.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you, Victoria. And I remember when one other thing, I wrote down notes as we were talking, and you said, I also learned, Stella, that it's not a pyramid scheme. It's so much deeper.
Right. Right. It's not a pyramid scheme. It's like building in almost the shape of a pyramid, but to help each other. It's not, there's no like scam involved. And that was one thing that, even my husband, he was like, oh, well, good luck kind of thing, like wasn't sure about it. But I just fell in love with it from going to the seminar. And one thing I did write down that I love that Marlon said that really kind of got to me was, he said, don't get caught up in today's problems or you'll miss out on tomorrow's promises. Or problem. Yeah, today's problems or you'll miss out on tomorrow's promises. And I just love that. Like focus on what you need to be doing. Don't focus on, you need goals. you know, you need goals to set, but don't focus on what you're not doing right. You know, focus on what you know how to do, and the things that you're learning. I'm still trying to pass my exam right now. I'm doing my extra studies, and I'm probably going to be doing my, my test next week. So I'm pretty excited about that to start helping people.
That's awesome. That's perfect to end on. Don't say that one more time again. I started to write it down. I couldn't write fast enough. Don't focus on your problems.
It says, don't get caught up in today's problems or you will miss out on tomorrow's promises. And I really liked that.
Me too. Thank you so much, you guys. Let's go get it. It is June. It is slingshot time. It is time to embrace the day. Let's go do it. All right. Thanks, you guys. Love
Awesome.
you.
Thank you.